Sociology. This is our topic of discussion today. And when I study sociology, I studied it as a subject, and I am astonished that why the people they don't study their own society in the form of sociology. Because we are all social animals. As Aristotle says, if we are not social, then we are just animals. So, from converting ourselves from the stage of animality to society, we have to be social. Now, what is sociology and how to be social? Sociology is the study of society, simply. And when we say society, so then it includes so many aspects: the social interaction, organization, social order, and our interaction with each other, the social action. So, in society, when we go and a human being is born, so the human being is born alone. But then, with family, parents, siblings, the house becomes home, and then that individual come out with mind and behavior. So the people in society outside, in the village or town or city or market, those people they are interested more in the behavior of their person. And this behavior, that is the manifestation of the mind. What kind of thoughts are there in the mind? So those thoughts are expressed in the form of behavior. And when this behavior is a response to stimulus, and the stimulus is any change in environment, and environment, that is the interaction of so many factors, so this individual is then evaluated in a group of people, because your own thoughts may affect you. But when these thoughts are manifested in the shape of your behavior, your attitude, your performance, your personality, when it is mixed with other people, then you become social. And then the people are interested in you. This is a dilemma in modern world, especially, that who is more important, the mind, individual, or behavior? So when we focus more on behavior in social psychology, so then that interaction becomes our subject matter. How we interact, how we make peer groups, who are our friends in our childhood, and within the family with whom we interact more. Interact means that to whom we show our mind. So this individual, when becomes part of a group, that group can be society as a whole, that can be community. Now community is different from society. Society is larger, bigger, while community, that is more limited. Many things are in common in community, while in society the people must interact more. Community, for example, we say that there is teachers community, or Pashtun community, or Sindhi community, for example. So it is not necessary that there will be a lot of interaction, social interaction, but the people will feel that there are many values common amongst members or between two members of that community. Community can be of 5 people, it can be of hundreds, but while society, that is a bigger concept. The whole humanity can be one society if the social interaction, when we study the computational sociology, or when we study humanity as a whole, and when there is more globalization, there is more communication on global level. So then the world can become one society, and when it becomes more common, then even it can become community. So these are interesting things that we study in sociology. Now, when we say individual, so the individual agency, how much that individual is important. For example, you are in a tribal society. So that is a structural. Structuralism is one theory, very important theory in sociology. Structuralism. We study one structure, like we study gender, male gender, female gender. We study tribe, race. These are different structures. And what are the functions of these structures? Then we call it functionalism. These are different theories. For example, there are different approaches in society. And different approaches in to study society in sociology. For example, the classic theory which depends, for example, our social interaction, that is more important. And then we come to conflict, that the class struggle of Karl Marx. Then we focus on class struggle. We focus on interactionism, symbolic interactionism, that the people, they interact with each other and then they form their social behavior and their interaction. So there are different approaches and theories. So for example, we take the structure of tribe. So now the whole tribe, that determines the fate of an individual. This individual has no role. Even his or her marriage, her children, siblings, education, which school, which social institution, all these things are determined by the tribe. So that is a tribal mentality. That is a tribal society where tribe is more important than individual. So when we study historic, because in sociology there are different ways, like archival approach. We study history, that how the human society or community that developed with the passage of time. There was a time that in jungles, in woods, the people would live. So the whole existence at that atmosphere, at that environment, was one society. And there was no individual characteristics or individual distinguished features. Individual would not predetermined in that way. The whole tribe or the whole community would decide the fate. So slowly and gradually, when there was industrialization, when an individual also got his or her own income and became more independent, he or she was no more dependent on other members of society. So he would feel that I am more important than the group feeling or the herd. For example, the sheep, if goes in a herd, and if the sheep goes outside the herd, so there will be phobia, fear. She will be scared that if I'm out of this herd, so the lion will come and will eat me. But if you tell that sheep or that goat, that animal, that no, you alone you are strong enough that you can face the lion, so then the individual agency will become more important. For example, in Western society, when the children, they get 18 years of age, so then they leave sometime the family and then become independent. Why? Because the society is made, the sociology of that society is on such pattern that this individual alone after 18 years is no more a child, is no more a minor. That is a complete human being, adult, mature, self-sufficient, confident. So now that person, his or her individual agency, that is more important as compared to the whole family or group or society. There is, for example, interaction, that individual and his or her family. And that's why different days are celebrated. Like this is Father Day, this is Mother Day. Why? Because there is less interaction and they focus. There is less daily interaction. So they focus only on one day when they pass the whole day with his or her mother and then they call it Mother Day. While in Eastern society, they consider something very strange, that why you focus only one day and why you call their day as a Mother Day. So these are social patterns, these are social behaviors in different society. After industrialization, individual became more important, individual became more conscious, individual became more educated, in a way that now I am alone more important. But still, an individual would not live alone 24 hours or 365 days a year just in his own or her own home environment or residence. That person must go to market, that person must go to an office, and then that person should have some relationship, must have wife one day, children one day. So these things, when we study in Western society, that is totally different when we study these things in Eastern society or Muslim society or other kinds of society. So sociology is the study of this whole phenomena, how this individual, when becomes part of society or community, so what is the difference in behavior. For example, an individual, I have seen, when sometime I go to beaches, so there is a part of beach which is called nude beach. Only those people are there, they don't have any piece of clothes. While if you go to any rural or maybe even urban society, and in Muslim countries, so they will cover the whole bodies everywhere. What is this social behavior? Because here the individual want say that I am important. This is my right. What kind of dress I want to wear? Nobody should control me. So the things are going to another extreme, that even they don't give importance to the fashion or to the social requirements of dress code. They are becoming more and more rebellious of the social control. So to study this social control, that is one of the interesting topic that we have in sociology. Now, for example, the culture. When the social patterns, the interaction gets one particular color, texture, or flavor, or pattern in one, in a particular way, a group of human beings, they perform their activities, which may be abstract or which may be concrete, material. It may take a civilizational form, then that is called civilization. And culture, that is more abstract, like music, art, your dress style, the way you behave in a theater, in a gathering, in a football match, in a stadium. So all this become your culture. When many people they behave in the same way, then it becomes culture. And then this culture may take the shape of civilization if they, on a whole era, whole time period, or it becomes more political. So sociology is interested in individual, the thoughts, then the application of those thoughts in society. And when this individual becomes, for example, citizen of a state, so then that state also is interested in political sociology, that how this individual is from his or her home to society, and then from society to state, and then global level, United Nations, and then this global citizenship, that for example internationalism, that we belong to the whole world, we are global citizens. And that's why we see European Union, for example, you travel from Europe, I have traveled in European Union, just you have one visa or one passport or one card, and then you can go to any country. They don't differentiate that this is Germany or this is Switzerland or this is Italy or this is Spain. The things are, the interaction is increasing, and then that is the economic aspect of society that we study in the economic society. Then the political society, the cultural aspects, the civilizational aspect, all these things are so interesting in to study, that the waves, you are astonished that where are the limits of an individual agency, where is the limit of a family, a peer group, and then you become part of society, how you should behave, whether the things are relative, the things are absolute, and your one behavior in one place and another, you're the same person when go to another society, so the behavior is totally changed. Should you respect those norms, those values, those those networking in different societies? So all these things we do in sociological research. Coming to the theory of sociology, there are, like in philosophy, psychology, everywhere, gender studies and other aspects, we have like positivism and anti-positivism. Positivism is that sociology is a science, and it is like a natural science. So the rules and regulations that we apply in a natural science can also be applied in sociology. For example, in chemistry, we say that if two molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen, so we get water. So, do we have this exactitude, this certainty, this verifiability in sociology also? So that is the positivism, that the things must be totally based on empirical evidence, experimentation. We do observation, we do our survey, we get knowledge, information, data, primary data, secondary data, and then we do it like we do in chemistry lab or in physics lab. So this is positivism. But anti-positivism sociologists like Max Weber and others, they concentrated that no, human beings are totally different from objects, from matter, from dead matter. Human beings, the predictability, that is totally different. You can't predict like molecules of hydrogen and oxygen. Human beings are not like that. Human beings are totally different, and they are unpredictable. Their behavior, their attitudes, their moods, their mood swings, and the situation, environment, that is not the same like for dead bodies or other objects. So that's why then they consider that sociology is a social science. Sociology is a social science like economics and others. Sociology is also part of social studies. Social studies is different from sociology because in social study they have three parts. One is like history, humanities, and then social sciences. So that becomes broader in aspect. For example, the difference between applied sociology and social work. For example, poverty alleviation is one of the subject in sociology, and especially in the Karl Marx sociology, the class struggle. And they say that all this thing is determined by economics, economy, money, capital. So the bourgeois and the proletariat, that the people, they are different classes, upper class, middle class, lower class. So all this thing is based on classes, and those classes are based on money, capital, wealth, the concentration of wealth. So when we study these things in sociology, so then the other people say that no, not only economic aspects, but also politics, but also culture, also spirituality and religion. These things also are important, just not only material aspects of society. So there are different approaches, and those approaches then we study in different forms of research. We do our survey, qualitative and quantitative research in sociology, and the for example the longitudinal survey, or you study something for a long time, observational approach, you observe, you collect data, and then you get kind of conclusions as we do in natural sciences. So sociology, when we study the poverty alleviation, for example, as a topic in sociology, so in sociology we study its poverty itself and its impact on society, the society of poor people and rich people, how the wealth determines your thought process, your behavior, and your attitude. And this is in sociology. But when we go to the applied sociology, so they give us strategy how to alleviate, how to reduce poverty in our society. That is then the work of applied sociology. But when we come to social work, so then that is the action, that is the pragmatic, that is the practical form of social attitudes or social action when we go and we participate and we actually reduce or alleviate uh, poverty in our society. So that is, all these things then we study in different disciplines, but these disciplines are interconnected. This is not social work is not sociology, but sociology is involved in social work, and social work needs sociology. And sociology, if you want to make it more important discipline, then you need social work. That's why if you go now, the recent research in sociology, that sociology is becoming like getting a kind of redundant position. It is no more important to study the theory of sociology and the sociological research. What is more important, that is social work, like survey, or for example social policy, or for example applying sociology in our daily life, that the people must they get in the public policy, in the government, the governance. It needs sociological research. Otherwise, just discussing it in a vacuum, it will be of no value. So these are then, and this is another aspect of sociology, that when we apply sociology in our society, in culture, that is very interesting. And in the subcultures, for example in criminology, we study subcultures, the cultures of criminals, for example in a particular part of a city, which is more symbolic interactionism in criminology as well as in sociology, that we focus our attention just a particular group, and then that becomes the sub culture. And then when we come, for example, to the historic developments in sociology from the Greeks, so in the modern times, Ibne Khaldun, who wrote Muqaddimah, Asbiya, his famous theory, then he is said to be the modern sociologist. But some people say that no, in the Western times, Durkheim and Comte and Max Weber, Karl Marx, these people, they are so, when you study their works, it is so interesting. I have read Muqaddimah. That is also really, really interesting book. We should read that if we are really interested to understand. But the books of all these sociologists are so much interesting. So when you want to make yourself like a really social being and social animal, not only animal, so you need the study of sociology. This is my introductory lecture on sociology, just to introduce you, to tell you that sociology is really interesting, because you are part of society. Daily you are interacting in your society with people. Look at them, their attitudes. For example, in a Muslim country, every people in any sentence, they will say inshallah, and they will be always talking about God, and they will be talking about prophet, and they will be talking about the holy books, and their whole life pattern that is evolving around religion. But if you go to another society, for example you go to Norway or Sweden, Denmark, so there the people, they may not use such words. So this is linguistics, social linguistics. Even sociology is important in communication. In everywhere, this is the sociology is applied. We observe sociology daily in our daily lives. So we may not learn sociology from only from books, but also from our own interaction. When we come out from our bedroom, we come out from our washroom, we go to our family room, we talk to people, and then from family room we go out, we go to market, we do our interaction with people and their attitude, their behavior, and then we make groups. We feel like affiliated to one group, and then we make a class, and then we become part of a class, and then our interest, and then our clashes, and then our interaction, our clash of interest, and our convergence and divergence of those interests. So all this phenomena, when we study with closed eyes, with open eyes, but without our eyes are closed from prejudices and biases, objective way, and we get qualitative and quantitative data, and we do our analysis. So we are sociologists, and then we understand sociology. We go in details of sociology. When we read sociology in books, then we understand. It is just not like cramming or different sociological theories or works of different sociologists. but we should try to observe that things in our own society. Then it will become more interesting to us. I recommend the study of sociology, whether it is for examination, it is a course. It is highly interesting, because this is about us, we as a social being. So why not we should study our own selves and others, and we can, this way we can recommend our own proposals and suggestions, that how the society can become better, and how there will be, this is called utilitarianism, another theory in sociology, the rational choice theory, that when the people consider something of value and there is utility, so then you will see the difference. Because like bees, when there is a flower, so all the bees will come and they will converge there, and then they will make their own community. So similarly, when there are economic interest or any utility, and the rational choice theory, the people, they choose things according to their choices and their interest and their benefits. So all these things, then we, and this is important even in marketing, in economics, that when you study the society and you study the pulse of society, being a sociologist, then you can recommend things to even to economists and managers and management, and everywhere you see sociology. So this is my introductory lecture. Then we will go in detail in each and every part of the sociology, with more focus on those topics, which when we will go, will in detail, like studying from more, with more research and with more theoretical background.